Remember that they are changing my voice. So 6 people were killed in a Virginia Walmart. Before I get into this, let me explain to you why it is stupid not to rally to me and why it is stupid to choose to give up your life for no reason by doing a mass shooting. Okay, I'm going to give you 5-6 scriptures and we'll get back to the main topic of this video, which is the Virginia shooting. Proverbs 15:16. Better a little with the fear of the Lord than great wealth with turmoil. Your fame and fortune do not matter. What matters is that you fear the Lord and move righteously. The next verse. Better a small serving of vegetables with love than a fattened calf with hatred. With the same scale, we can say better a short life of righteousness than a long life of injustice. In fact, Proverbs 16:8 makes that clear. Better a little with righteousness than much gain with injustice. Verse 19. Better to be lowly in spirit with the oppressed than to share plunder with the proud. The proud are also people who shoot up a store for no reason or for a little reason. You have to do better than that. You have to get at all. So let's say that person was bullied, for the sake of argument. You know, workplace bullying is an extreme problem here in America and abroad. It's much better to get at every bully by masterfully making your case than to shoot up just a store full of people and almost certainly get caught or killed or what have you. So yes, it's better to be lowly in the spirit with the oppressed, with the righteous, than to share plunder with the proud, and to share notoriety, to be infamous and nefarious with a bunch of people who just shot unarmed people, which a kid could do. Proverbs 19:1. Better the poor whose walk is blameless than a fool whose lips are perverse. Again, the lips often mean the actions. Better to date someone who's poor and who makes sure that their life is flawless in terms of righteousness and justice than a fool with lots of money, than a violent fool, a rock and roll knucklehead, a rap knucklehead, somebody who is not thinking. You need a higher cause. For example, Tupac often referred to things that suggested he had a higher cause. The song Thug Mansion, Keep Your Head Up, Changes, I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto. He's trying to get people to think about these things and discuss them. But unfortunately, he was outside of the divine order and he didn't know what to do. Proverbs 23:17. Do not let your heart envy sinners, but always be zealous for the fear of the Lord. He envied those people who were able to be left alone. He envied people who wanted to get revenge on people. He envied the people, okay, who were able to show that they're tough by blasting people. So it was easy for society to manipulate him one way or another into doing that shooting. Now let's look at the overwhelming amount of evidence. Again, delusion is when there's an abundance of evidence, but you refuse to consider that evidence. Are there this many mass shootings in Nigeria or Brazil or China, which a much larger population, or India, much larger population? China and India is like 1.3 billion or something people. They have like a billion with a B, more people. So why aren't these shootings happening there? Because America has a cultural sickness, okay? And that's part of freedom of speech. You have to respect my freedom, my right to disagree with your cultures. I'm born in America. My dad's born in Nigeria. My mom's born in America. Okay? My brothers are born in America. I have a right to disagree with everyone else in this country. That is a core cultural value, non-negotiable. So when you see emos, goths, thugs with no higher cause, okay, corporate greedy people, people who pretend they're decent because they're polite and nice, there's a difference between polite and nice and righteous. All your cultures are wrong because you don't understand universal pinpointed moral precision and focused moral intensity. And you're guilty of breaking the greatest commandment, and your behavior reflects that. If Americans respected the greatest commandment, which is to love the Lord with all your heart, all your soul, all your being, all your mind, then you would see it in their actions. There would be no homeless. There would be no child hunger, preventable child hunger, families that can't afford to feed their children. That simply would not be happening. The fact that it is shows that Americans, as a sum total, are guilty of breaking the greatest commandment. The next one is to love your neighbor as yourself. If you Americans, with your 380,000 plus churches, your 20,000 denominations, loved your neighbors, which includes the poor people in your city, not just your immediate neighbor, but your neighbor down the street, a couple blocks away, your neighbor in downtown, your neighbor in an alleyway, with a homeless, tent, then they would not be homeless. You would pass my war on poverty plan. I don't care if I get credit for the war on poverty plan. I do care if it isn't passed. And that is a small tax of $5 on average for less than millionaires, $200 on average for people worth $1 million or more. That will raise $60 billion a year. A website to track every penny, and tons of citizen involvement. Don't leave it up to the government, because they'll mismanage the money. Okay, even Gavin Newsom recently, he said that he rejects the proposal of the cities to fight homelessness because it wasn't good enough. They can do better. The government all the time says about itself that it can do better. So we need a citizen groups, a network of citizen groups to trace every penny to make sure we do better and not do eugenics. Because our system is not a true democracy. Because you don't have the financial justice for a true democracy. There's too much censorship and bullying. There's gerrymandering, redlining, gentrification, scientific racism. There's too many things like this. Institutional racism. They prevent people from being in a position to speak freely without fear of consequence. For making this video, even now, I'm suffering some consequences, and that's a story for another day. Watch my other videos. Please subscribe to this channel. All we need is $30 billion to build 1 million tiny homes with land prices included. In some states, it's very cheap to build, especially if we move some of these people out of the cities to the suburbs and to the places like Lodi and Modesto and Barstow, places like that. And then from there, increase law enforcement to make it up for them, to those cities, and build new stores and so on and so forth. Okay, certainly the grocery stores there, if these people get EBT cards, would appreciate the new customers. And they could hire new people. It's not as simple as they bring crime and it's all bad. It's what do you do with the new tax revenue in your town? What do you do when you don't have to clean up homeless encampments? There's a lot of other things to consider. That money can go to hiring new police officers that are on a task force to regulate the newly formed homeless encampment. Pretty straightforward. So what does this have to do with the Virginia shooting? Okay, it's a result of social, political, economic, romantic, financial, economic injustice. Cause and effect, the expected output of a corrupt system and an unfair government and an indifferent governing class that has broken the greatest commandment 1,000,000 times over. Not only are you supposed to love God with all your heart, you love your neighbor as yourself, but greater love there has none than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friend. John the Baptist, Jesus, Stephen the Martyr, Isaiah, in popular culture. John 11:16, then Thomas, also known as Didymus, said to the rest of his disciples, let us also go that we may die with him. Matthew 26:35, but Peter declared, even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you. And all the other disciples said the same. Even if I have to die for moral precision, universal pinpointed moral precision, I will never disown it. Isaiah 16:5, in love a throne will be established, in faithfulness a man will sit on it, one from the house of David, one who in judging seeks justice, including romantic and financial justice, and speeds the cause of righteousness. What is romantically righteous as well. Luke 6:46, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say? They're not seeking the cause of justice and speeding the cause of righteousness. Proverbs 16:12, kings detest wrongdoing, for a throne is established through righteousness. New Living Translation, justice. That is the scale of a man. Character. Proverbs 16:10, a divine decision is on the lips of the king. His mouth must not be unfaithful or unjust in judgment. A divine decision given by God is on the lips of the king as his representative. His mouth should not be unfaithful or unjust in judgment. Christian Standard Bible version, God's verdict is on the lips of a king. His mouth should not give an unfair judgment. Proverbs 24:21, I believe it is. Fear the Lord and the king, my son, and do not join with the rebellious officials. Matthew 21:43. The kingdom of heaven will be taken away from you and given to a people who perform its works. And what are the works? Righteousness and justice. Can this be done after I die? Who am I to you? Subscribe to the channel and figure out.